answered to both. I
I
answered.
think,
I answered to both. Teresa or Terry. I go by
okay,
Terry, so don't feel weird.
thank you. And so, who taught you that if you're late or not on time, that disaster?
I think my mom. I can remember my mom sitting at the same table that I'm sitting at right now, that I do all of my classes on, with legal pads, writing down all of her bills in, handwritten, and smoking a cigarette and going through and budgeting. I imagine that's what she was doing, looking to see how much money there was. And I have a real distinct memory of that. And for a background, I came from a somewhat affluent background. We weren't poor, we weren't rich, but
No, and do you remember the feeling when that where we take on the feelings of our parents? Do you remember how did you feel your mother?
anxiety.
Mhm. And so is it
And
just something?
it was because my mother was not doing. My mother had bipolar, and my father put her in charge of the money, and my mother was doing vicarious things with the money. So she was constantly stressed out because she was borrowing from one place to pay something else. I know this now. I did not know that then.
And you said my mother was not doing.
Yes.
And so how do you feel about not doing?
I beat myself up when I'm not doing.
And so that's and so you answered with a statement. How do you feel about
Oh,
not doing?
it pisses me off.
Mhm. And what is it? How do you how do you feel people see you when you're not doing?
As lazy.
And is there anything true about you being lazy?
I imagine there probably is. I've been
And so
lazy.
and is who's making lazy wrong?
Me, because my lens of right and wrong.
Yes. And do you imagine COVID was asking you to be still long enough to get it?
Yes, and it did, and I did. So
And so can you, instead of pushing, just be aware that you require more rest and whatever that may look like. Can you show up for work? Yes. And do you require, are there other places where you can give yourself more rest away from work? Even
yeah,
if it's telling everybody else no for a while, so that you can show up to the things that are for you, that feed you. Even if it's moving an appointment to a different time of day, taking a couple, one or two, one less.
I know this is terrible. I'm on call. I have to answer
Okay,
this.
okay.
Hey, Jimmy, 9:30 your Metro bus is going to pick you up, yes. And then I'll meet you there at around 10:15. Okay, honey. All right. Bye.
And who
Sorry.
is, that's okay. Who is that?
I have two jobs. I'm a body worker, massage therapist, and I see clients and coach them and whatnot at home. And then during the day, I have a job where I work with individuals who are learning how to live on their own. And um, yes, so I'm supporting them in that. It's and I'm on call Monday through Friday, 24 hours. I have to answer phone calls for people who have questions, or they're upset, or I do what you're doing,
And
except
I choose to ask, so what happens if you don't answer their phone call immediately?
I'm required to answer it within 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that one of the calls that you received the other night when we were on our call?
Yes.
And so I encourage you, as because I'm going to ask you, if you were on a call with Faith, would you have taken that call?
Yes, I
Okay.
have.
Okay, and do you have an agreement with her that if that comes up that you do that?
Yes.
Okay, and so will you create that agreement with Carrie and I?
Yes.
Perfect. Because what our perception was is, oh, she's distracted, she's running. We don't know. And so
Yes.
I perfect, thank you. And so what do those calls represent for you?
People who, they're not really emergencies. However, it is the EA line, and it's people reaching out to connect. They're reaching to connect. They're making sure somebody's there. Um, it's bitching.
And um
It's mostly that they're making sure somebody's there, and they're checking in consciousness. They're checking with the outer to make sure they're okay.
and so are you letting the outer check in with you to make sure you're okay? And can you and what we're aware that we can do is when we fully give ourselves our heart choice, the outer gets really quiet. And so can you just even walking into or prior to a call that you're jumping in on or something that you're doing for you, you can claim that you have the harmony and that all that um, I care for me and my others are already cared for. I answer for me and they answer their own call. That was a big breath. How does it feel to have them? Because are you here? If you're here to teach them how to do for them,
Hmm.
are you here to teach you how to do for you?
Yes.
And have you been reaching to the outer for support where you can care for it yourself? Because there is in the codependent, and you're aware of it, people asking for support or help where it's they already have the ability to do it themselves.
I'm aware I have the ability to do it myself.
And
I'm stuck, and
awesome, say it again. I'm
I am
stuck.
stuck.
Say it again.
I'm stuck,
How do you feel about stuck?
angry and upset, and upset, sad and guilty and shame. Like you should know how to do this.
Says who?
The voices in my head.
And and is it
My
your little
dad,
self? Ah. And so did your daddy tell you you should already have this?
pretty much.
And how much time do you require?
For
Whatever.
as much time
Getting
as I need.
ex-
As,
say it again, as much
as
as I
much
need.
time as I need.
And if you're pushing through getting healthy and you're pushing through getting the bills paid, are you giving yourself the time that you require?
No.
And are you making up that it has to be days or weeks?
Hours.
And even if giving yourself um, 30 or 45 minutes of rest in the middle of the day can be restorative to give you something to restore what you've been given to everybody else.
I did that yesterday. That was huge. When I got home from the first job, just kept telling myself, I require to lay down. I require laying down.
And so I'm going to offer you an upgrade
Okay.
is because requirement is still a way that we say need or want. And just will you choose? I choose to lay down. Because we can be required to go to the grocery store. If we've chosen, we're like, I require food, I require groceries, I require going to the bathroom. I choose to go now. I choose when I choose. And and I will give myself some rest.
Okay.
And you're
Well, when I texted you about the Decode the Money class, I'm already on a facilitation call series with Faith on Thursdays. And so I'm doing that. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I it's all too much.
breathe,
Yeah.
literally breathe.
I know I'm trying. I can feel myself holding my breath.
And just I give myself permission to breathe.
I give myself permission to breathe.
And have you gifted yourself two things that you really did, two classes with people that you really desire?
Yes, my great self showed up.
Yes. And so is your little self trying to take you off course?
Yes, that's
And
my
so,
pattern.
and
I'm face to face with the thing that is I'm face to face with the thing that has stopped me from everything.
and
And
so
I have to,
what do you say to the thing that's tried to stop you from everything?
all kinds of stuff.
Say fuck off.
Yeah, that and you have no power here. I am God is the only presence that's here. I am successful. I am worthy. I do it all the time.
It
I
doesn't work.
No, no, because what I'm seeing and what I'm really getting is as our Minnesota community is struggling as well, um, I'm seeing my participation in being someone who's taking out our Minnesota community too. I'm contributing to it through my what's acting in me.
And is it okay?
Well, now it's okay. I made it okay yesterday
Because um
and I recommitted.
have you ever remember when leadership or something gets handed over that the things require coming together in a brand new way, and so people are
Yes.
fine. Is Elizabeth stepping up, or other people stepping up, other people stepping back,
Yes.
and to do their own thing so other people can step in, and can this just be glorious instead of failing?
Yes, I feel that. However, right now everybody is that this is wrong.
And so can you be the one to go first and say, is this just change that's for us?
I could.
Because what we're aware of is when we have a new choice, everything begins to shift. And the chaos means it's working. We just don't like it because we don't know what it is yet. And so it's one of those, my great self goes before me and paves my way. I know not, I've yet to know what this is. I stay in my faith and remember God's got me. And is community going to be okay, even if it completely dissolves?
Yes.
And will it rebuild?
Yes.
And someone will pick up the stick.
Yes.
And is it your responsibility to make sure that all happens?
No.
No. And when you go first and claim where you are and what you desire, is that glorious for everyone?
It hasn't been. No, it hasn't been.
Okay. And so is that voting victory?
No.
And so is it, I'm going to ask you again. So is it glorious, even if it looks like shit?
Yes.
That's what we're saying. Is
Okay.
the glory, even if it completely falls, disintegrates, everybody is arguing and expressing and claiming their own will and authoring new things. This is exactly what's required to happen so it can get to the glory that it's meant to be.
Yes.
And it's going to come, it'll happen again and again.
Yes.
And so if everybody's resisting community falling apart because it's been so sacred, is it okay if it collapses to become something more glorious than anybody imagined?
Yes.
And can you be the first to remind everyone of this,
Yes.
even if it's just in yourself?
Yes.
And are you, is it your job to hold it all together?
I've had belief, yes.
And so
That's the way it's always been.
did your mother and your daddy teach you that? Did you have to hold it together for your mother and your father? If your mom was
Yes.
bipolar and you said something about your father.
My dad was the guy who held it all together.
And so did you just pick it up because he didn't know how to let go?
Yes.
Do you have the tools to know how to let go? Ooh. Ooh. And what do you imagine letting go looks like?
Falling off a cliff to your death.
Me too. Well, because I've been talking to other people because I had this awareness the other day. What does holding on look like? And mine was literally hanging onto a cliff.
Yeah.
And others are said like this. And so who taught you that holding on was on the cliff and that you were going to fall to your death?
I imagine my mother.
Somebody taught us that. Is it the truth?
No.
Because this is,
It seems real though.
yes, I agree. I agree. So I get on the MFR roller sometimes and I do where you lay your entire spine. And
Yes.
when you go to roll off,
Yes.
feels
It feels what?
really far to the floor.
Oh, it does. And it hurts.
Um, well, what I'm aware of is that every time when I'm like, "Ugh," and I'm like, it's only 3 inches.
Yes.
Like that. And so we have just believed that letting go was falling to our death. And so will you create a new agreement, a new belief about what letting go looks like?
I can feel my little self going, oh, just go ahead and tell her what she wants to hear. I hear that.
And it's okay. Awesome.
Uh, it's so manipulative.
Yes. And can you just say, I hear you
I hear you,
and I have another choice?
and I have another choice.
Because if you're trying to ignore what you're hearing in you, Terry,
Yep.
it's resistance,
It's more
sweetheart.
resistance. It's more against. That's how
And
big
just
the against is.
and just say, come on in, big guy. I got you.
No.
Because how much tender you as a 3-year-old hearing, oh my God, run, run. Can you just hear it and say, I hear you? And you can even say, I hear you, little one. And breathe. And all you're required to do is say, I hear you.
I hear you.
This is what I did with fear when I moved into coaching full time. It's like, God, all I saw was money going out, money going out, money going out. And what can happen? Who's going to take from me? And whoa, my God. And all I did is I put I folded an index card that said something about fear of money and fear. And when it would come, and I had a little decree, I make it okay. Hello, fear. Hello. And the voice gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And when it shows up the way it feels today, when it shows up the way it feels in my body, is is completely different. It's still there. And so who's the one who's making it really big?
I am.
And are you willing to just say hello and I hear you?
Yes.
And what changes as you say hello, I hear you?
Creates ease.
Do you know how fast that feeling will move through your body when you say hello?
Quickly.
30 seconds.
Yep.
And can you love you for 30 seconds at a time all day long?
That's a good one.
All I require to do is breathe for 30 seconds.
Yes. Yes.
And because when you will acknowledge whatever comes up is as fast as it will move, and you will move into what you're desiring. But until you take that down, that resistance, you're going to stay in against. And I remember my inspired spirit.
I remember my inspired spirit.
Say it again.
I remember my inspired spirit.
And you're doing this. This is your mission. Give it to yourself, sweetheart.
I'm really scared.
Awesome. You know what scared turns into?
Faith.
Sacred.
Sacred faith. Yep.
It's sacred. And what's scary? Because is this something brand new that you don't understand yet? And have you ever done anything that requires this amount of courage? And have you stepped up and stepped into everything that's ever been presented to you? And have you succeeded every single time?
In one way or another, yes.
So is there anything different about this?
No.
The only time we fail is when we literally stop.
Mm-hmm.
And just I hear you, and my choice is I take another step forward. I keep showing up for me. We're not required to raise all of this stuff. We're just expanding. And so if you show up in a class coughing your ass off and all you do is listen, did you meet yourself where you are today?
Yes.
Did you do your best?
Yes.
And is it enough?
Yes. There's a part of me that says no.
Yes.
I say
And say my best is enough.
my best is enough.
Say it again.
My best is enough. My best is enough.
Our brains are hardwired that when we meet one level, oh, we can do more. Oh, we can do, oh, you did that? Oh, let's do more. You did that? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
let's do more. And so
Mm-hmm.
that I'll be happy when, I'll be happy when, I'll be happy when. And so is your best, what you've done right now, and you've given everything, you've given your best. You've come so far. And where you are is where you are, and it's awesome and amazing. And it is enough. And say, in God's time.
In God's time.
Because if you're sitting right here, right now, and you have all this against, are you being asked to learn and remember and know everything there is to know about fear, backed out, against?
Yes.
And what is, we know fear is faith, and what's the opposite of backed out?
Staying in.
And are you staying in?
Yes.
Even when it feels scary?
Yes.
Are you doing it already?
Yes.
Are you being courageous with your signals? You're calling on support when you require support. You're staying for what feels hard, and you're getting to know everything. And just say, I've already done it.
I've already done it.
This is your next 125.
Mm-hmm.
And what does all of this turn into?
Massive ease and understanding, passion, love, empathy.
Your parents taught you how to the opposite of everything. So, and how old are you?
60.
And so have you been for 50 plus years and
Yeah.
it the hard way? And do we undo 50 plus years overnight?
No.
And so will you be compassionate and tender with you?
Yes.
Say, I speak lovingly into me.
I speak lovingly into me.
Say it again.
I speak lovingly into me. I speak lovingly into me.
And one of the things I've been practicing lately is I'll hear something and I'll go, is that compassionate? No. Is that sweet? No. Oops.
Mhm.
Because everybody else is running patterns for you, and thank God.
Yeah. I went back to work on Monday and I was working with my first client who has Asperger's,
Hmm.
extremely high functioning. We were walking in the parking lot and I had my hands in my pocket and I tapped my left shoulder to his right shoulder, just playful, and he chucked me across the parking lot, almost knocked me on my ass and bruised my ribs. And I thought, oh my God, what a blow to my body. What a blow to my body. What a blow to me. And I choose to share it with you because I was off work for a whole week and that was my re-entry into a job that I see how it served me and how I've learned things. But it was another indicator. It's time for me to move on into something different.
And you said you bruised your ribs.
Yep,
On what side?
on the left side.
You've been protecting yourself from protecting love in your heart and
Yep,
heart choices.
yes,
And have you felt bruised by things that you thought you loved?
yes. God,
And
you're really good. You just get right in there. When
amen.
I'm on and I'm aligned with my great self, I do it too.
Yes, and guess what? I require support with regularity.
Yes.
And because I call on support with regularity, I am where I am. Carrie
Yes.
and I coach each other sometimes 2 hours a day. It can
Mhm.
be exhausting and so grateful.
Yeah.
And um,
Ugh.
so yes, just keep playing. And have you, so one of the things I would encourage you to do is how do you feel about this other position where you're on call 24/7, Monday through Friday?
It's $800 a month is how I feel about that. It's secure. It gives me more security.
More security.
Yep.
And do you love massage? Do you love the body work?
I'm tired.
Okay.
I love the coaching. I love the body language translations. I've been coaching for years. What the emotional, uh, somato emotional release that, and this is uh, a face system is a new modality that I've brought in.
Mhm. And what would happen if you actually expanded the body work so that you no longer required being called on 24/7, 5 days a week?
That would be amazing.
And
Yes.
what would it take to expand that? Do you have any?
More money, more time, more networking.
So hold on. So more money,
Yep.
more time, more networking.
Yes.
And why does it require more money to do something you're already doing?
I'm sure I'd have to pay for something.
And so is that okay? And
And
so I'm sure I'd have to pay. So you're not even sure if it will require more money. You're just telling yourself that.
well, yeah, I'm going off of, conversations I've had with you about, an online manager, an administrator. Uh,
And so hold on a second. I'm not talking about getting bigger yet. I'm just talking about expanding what you already have so that you have
yeah,
so that you have more clients.
yeah,
Because what I'm aware of is we can jump into, I'm going to do retreats and I
yeah,
have room for 30. Well, I'm just saying I have room for
yeah,
30 and I can do this and I'm going to charge this and I'm going to make this much. We may have yet to be the container for that. That's
yeah.
been my experience. And so if you take what you're already doing that you already love and you create space for that to grow more of that, does that actually cost you anymore?
No, I'm meeting with Tamitha and Angela tomorrow. Today's Thursday, right?
Yes.
Tomorrow. Yeah, we're getting together at 2 o'clock, and we're playing with my resume and playing with what I've
Awesome.
already done, and working on cancel delete. We're just gonna play with stuff and help me get underneath in creating
Yes,
the
because
perfect job for me, the perfect thing for me.
how how many more clients of the body work would you require
Probably 10 to
to
15, 10 to 15 for the
more
month.
to get 10 to 15
Yes,
more to get to the 800?
yes. Oh, to get to the 800,
Just
8.
that,
I
okay.
charge 100 an hour.
And what would happen if you went up?
Oh, I've already gone up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
The
okay.
coaching, I imagine the iridology and everything else being another, because I'm doing that in February.
Okay.
So
And,
that's
and
another avenue.
and you said more time. And so
Yeah. Yeah, more
baby
time.
steps, I'm aware. And realize that even if, and this is for me as well, we give ourselves 30 minutes to an hour of something creative for us, whether it's doing, exploring, even if it's actually creative, that keeps that moves the energy rather than something that may just, like, I am a TV watcher.
Yeah.
I love
That's how
TV.
I've checked. I've really noticed that if I have to just check out, I will turn on the TV.
Well, and so that was what I've been playing with Angela and Tam on something else. And what I'm aware of is that's when my family got still and we could be together.
Yeah,
And
same.
so I'll turn the TV on at 5:30 or 6, and that's where I am until I go upstairs. And so there may be a couple of times a week where you give yourself 30 minutes to an hour to explore what you desire to explore.
And I am. That's new and different.
Awesome. And I encourage you to put it on your calendar.
Yes, and I
That's
did.
awesome. Because that's telling the universe that you have the tenacity to create space for yourself.
Yes, Andy and I are looking to partner with bringing conscious coaching to other body workers who are wanting to expand on their ability to stay fully present with their clients.
And so have you imagined doing a class, and you could even hold it at one of your homes, and you do it
Yes,
from 2 to 4,
yes,
no food required.
yes. We also, I said too, I said that doing a call series, even virtually, is in the works. As
Yes, because what Carrie and I have actually invested thus far, um, because Carrie and I desire to build a friggin' empire. I
yes,
mean, we're like, hello, Sydney, Australia.
Yes.
And so where we are and what we desire may be different than you, and that's
Yes.
perfect. And so you may have no requirement of virtual assistants. You may have no requirement for email automation and landing pages. And then
Right.
and
Maybe, maybe not. I don't know.
yes,
When I get there, I'll know.
and I'm just going to tell you, it's $1,100 a month.
Yes, you told me that.
And so we didn't require it in the beginning. And once we started to, and most of what it's beginning to pay for itself now, which is awesome. And we do what we can do with what we have, and we just meet ourselves where we are. Like our first retreat collapsed. I mean, our second retreat, nobody shined up, and so what do? We cooked for it. We froze everything just to keep the energy moving. Because one
Yes.
of the things that I love, Faith says, I create, my great self creates no matter what.
Yes.
And there are things beyond which we have yet to imagine.
Yes.
And so you're being asked to get all of this stuff, prepare you for
Yes.
what's coming. And so have you given yourself time to actually what you desire to have? To
I am
actually
doing
which
I am starting to do that. Yes.
just keep a list of the things that you desire and how much money. And you can say $8,000 a month and you'd be like, "Ugh." And we've yet to be there. And so we start smaller. I have 2 new clients. And then in 3 months, I pick up 2 new clients. So literally in a span of less than a year, you may be able to let go of the other one.
Yes. Or I just create a whole new
A whole new something else that
I'm
completely serves you.
I'm moving more along the directions of putting a little bit of speed on this and just creating a whole new something else. I'm very burned out.
Say it again.
I'm very burned out. I'm
And
very burned out.
and is this igniting you to move into something completely different?
Yes.
And so can you say
Yes.
thank you, burned out?
Yes, thank you, burned out. It's igniting me to move into more of my inspiration.
And I just say I'm already courageous.
I'm already courageous. I feel a lot better.
Because all of this congestion that's hanging on, I know you're aware of, I won't inspire.
Yes.
And it's just doubt.
Yes.
And I remember my God confidence.
I remember my God confidence. It is just doubt.
Mhm. I mean, how
And
awesome are you?
you said too, doubt and debt
Debt.
and doubt go hand in hand. And I'm in debt. And I've been in doubt of everything that I remember the times that I was absolutely certain about something and moved forward with it, and it was ease and seamless.
Mhm.
So I've experienced it. I know it exists.
And if we've done it once, can we do it again?
Yes.
Yes. And just say, oops, I doubted.
Oops, I doubted.
I created debt.
Oops, I doubted. I created debt. Lots of debt.
And and Erin Barrows, you know Erin.
Yes.
A little, and
She's
so
awesome.
she is. Erin is so friggin' vigilant. I love it. She's like, I said it every day, all day long for 4 months, and I got it. But she had a yoga studio and had accumulated back debt through COVID and some other stuff. And her
Yes.
decree is something along I choose to remember exactly, and I can share contact information with you if you desire. But something along the lines of completely clear. My debt is forgiven, completely forgiven. And if we play with anything biblical, has our debt already been forgiven?
Yes.
And so, but you may desire to connect with her and ask her to share that experience with you and what
Yes.
she said, um, because she had several $1,000s worth of back rent due, and she walked away completely, and it didn't cost her a penny.
Yeah, I've got the EDIL loan. I've got $4,000 there. I've got $3,500 in back taxes. I've got the money I owe Faith. I have the money I owe you. I have a lot out there. I have my student loan. It's a lot. It's about $40,000 all said and done. My debt is completely forgiven.
Say it again.
My debt is completely forgiven. My debt is completely forgiven. I can hear myself going, nope.
And so what do you say?
I hear you, little self, and it's okay. My debt is completely forgiven.
I give myself permission to believe
I give myself permission to believe.
my
I
debt is already forgiven.
give myself permission to believe. That's a good one. I've
Because
heard that before, and I choose to remind myself and remember that that's a good one for me. I give myself permission to believe.
because to believe is to be alive in.
Yes,
You remember, and those things that are so prolific for you, I encourage you just to put sticky notes on
yes,
the refrigerator and the coffee door cabinet or the tea
yes.
cabinet in the
I
bathroom
have them in
mirror.
my car. I've got them. Yes. And I will put these new ones up because that's good. And I'm going to go back and listen to the recording and pick up the other ones that
And I give myself permission to forgive
we give myself permission to forgive
any doubt I ever had.
any doubt I ever had. I give myself permission to forgive any doubt I've ever had.
Oh,
Yeah.
and there's a yes. How about a yes?
Yes. Yes.
Because is the debt just showing up as the size of the doubt that you've had in you?
Yes. Yes.
I remember I can.
I remember I can. I remember I will. Mhm. Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. Um, would you mind, I'm gonna ask you, would you mind if I posted, I'll send you a link to this. Would you mind if I posted this in our private group?
Absolutely, go right ahead. Yes.
It's beneficial for all of us.
Yes. And I'm usually the first one that goes in the group movements on what's really acting. So I
Well,
will.
Carrie, because Carrie and I we spoke about it, you getting up and taking the phone call, and
Yes.
I was aware that I was really fidgety in the beginning of the call myself,
Yes.
and so I recommit to my own stay, even when it feels good. I was aware of it, and I was still struggling. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
dancing, and
Yes.
it's just confirmation and evidence of the size of the movement for all of us.
Yes.
And whatever our experience is okay, it's all for us.
Yes. So I'll look for it on our
Yes, I'll send you a private link so you can have it yourself as well, but I'll
thank
post
you.
it in the group when it's easy for me. And I'm going to stop recording.